Okay, well, something a little different today. We've got my son's JK in here. We're fixing the drive shaft. I think he said it came in making lots of racket. So let's see what this does. Yeah, that's the problem right there. So there's the carnage. There should be, what? There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should be 6 more balls missing. One's missing there. All this tore apart. This goes on here. This was laying up on the frame, on the belly pan. Busted a hole. All those other balls went out right there. So the other thing is, it tore up this, so we may have to replace that boot. May just have to replace the whole shaft. I don't know about those splines. I guess they're okay. I'll try to slide that back up on the splines. But the other point is 140,000 miles. I probably ought to replace this ball joint. And it's hard to see, but that ball joint is actually staked. And so I don't believe it's replaceable. Guess I'll have to find out. But my theory is this is supposed to slide right here, and it got probably overextended a little bit and jammed up, shoved all this back in and locked up and just grenaded this whole thing. Anyway. Well, the new drive shaft arrived today via UPS. It's a Adams drive shaft out of Las Vegas, Nevada. The dual U-joints on the transfer case in. It comes with a yoke that it bolts up to, so I have to take out the existing factory yoke, and then it just bolts right up to the front yoke on the drive shaft. So I don't have to worry about the ring and pinion on the front end there. The other piece is while I actually put this yoke in that it came with, and the camera didn't pick it up. Somehow I didn't get any video, but I did get a video of removing the original. So somewhere in here I ran out of I think the SIM card or the battery died. Something happened. Anyway, didn't get it going back in, but I got this. Here I am, I'm breaking loose this large 1.25 inch nut that's on the inside. and now I'm going to take the Jeep out of, I locked it into 4-wheel high and transfer case so I could break that nut loose. I'm putting it back in 2 high. Now I can freely spin this and tap on it with a hammer. What I'm trying to do here is break it loose from the spline so it comes off, but it's not that super tight, but it does have a big O-ring inside this yoke that I want to keep. So this is here you can see that O-ring right here. I'm going to pull it out with the little extension, and I'm going to use that in the one that they sent. This keeps the dirt and the grease from leaking out, dirt from getting in when it goes up alongside the shaft. So now I've got the old one out. Going to get it all cleaned up and put a little bit of oil on it, and then I'll put it back in the new yoke prior to inserting it into the transfer case. So somewhere right about here is where the camera actually died on me, and I don't have the rest of this where I took this and stuck it in there and torqued it down. But Adams Driveshaft does have a really nice install PDF on their website that walks you through the whole process. This whole process actually in general is very simple, but they have a nice PDF doing on there. And now I have to feed the drive shaft in from the front of the Jeep toward the transfer case up over the cross member beside the transmission. What I've done here is just gotten the drive shaft squeezed in between the ears that are there on that yoke that hold that U-joint from slipping out kind of side to side. And then up on the front differential, I'm just extending that drive shaft into that joint up there and starting a couple of those bolts so that it holds the front end. And it does a nice job there. Come back here and just run these screws in semi-tight. I'm going to have to torque them up later, but I can run them up here with this 1/4 inch, I think it's 5/16 head. They're not really a bolt, they're more of a spline drive, 12-point head. And it's easy to see the bottom side here. Can reach around and try to get the ones on the back side started, but it's actually easier to jack the front wheels up in this case, get them off the ground, then you can spin that drive shaft around and you'll be able to see the bolts on the back side to get them started in there. There's no sense in cross threading any of this stuff. It's just a real simple process. It is very difficult to get a small socket ratchet up in here and make this work. So I'm just doing the 5/16 wrench on this case to get them run down tight. And we'll come back in with a torque wrench and a small extension and short socket to get them torqued. If I remember right, it's like 12 foot-pounds on these. Actually, torquing these was much more complicated than I thought because nothing I had would fit. I have a 3/8 inch and a 1/2 inch torque wrench. I have an inch-pound, 1/4 inch torque wrench, but at 15 feet-pounds, I couldn't use my inch-pound to get there. So I actually had to go purchase a 3/8 1/4 inch drive to fit this and then use a little wobble socket to get all this to work. That's what I did later on. I tightened them up here by hand and came back and torqued them later. After I had those tightened up on the transfer case, I turned my attention to the differential flange under the front end, and these are just 4 15mm bolts, same ones that I took off originally, same original flange, so it all bolts right back together nice and easy. This Adams drive shaft went right in, perfect fit, and it has the right length and everything, so I shouldn't have the same problem that I had in the past with it. My suspicion is, again, that it jammed itself up in there, so that should have taken care of that. Now I did put some Loctite on these bolts just to keep them from backing out, and then torque them down to the proper specs. And I'm having to pull the bolts out that I had in there holding this front end up, so I have to pull them back out and then run them in with some Loctite on them. Now the U-joints themselves are non-greasable, so they're lifetime on those U-joints. A couple of reasons for that. They seem to have worked very well, 140,000 miles, and they lasted still going strong, so I think keeping them sealed is probably more important than me greasing them. But I did have to grease the shaft itself there, and I took care of that while I had the Jeep. And there you have it. Simple, easy. Take out what's left of the old one and put in the new drive shaft. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching the video, and I hope these videos help someone out there who's trying to figure out how to fix their own vehicle.